So I'm just going to give a brief introduction to the event, a bit of information, and then we'll move swiftly on to the first of our sessions. So firstly, welcome. And so this whole event is being live streamed today, and all of the sessions, where permitted, will be recorded and uploaded and made available afterward. So the agenda for today was sent around before the event, so hopefully you have a copy, but there's also a copy outside the door. But very roughly speaking, we're going to have a number of sessions of exciting cross-cutting computational science today. There's going to be sessions around computational engineering, scientific reproducibility, materials modeling, tomographic imaging. And then we also have a session that's going to be looking at the history of CoSeC. So the history primarily of the collaborative computational projects that CoSeC helps to support, and also a look at how CoSeC is currently shaped and how we think it might be shaped going forward into the future. So hopefully that will be an interesting session. And I'd also just like to highlight at the end of the day, we're going to have a community feedback session. So this is going to be an attempt to hopefully live capture some thoughts and feedback from the people in the room. We'll be using a sort of a capture device in order to do that, a whiteboard. But the purpose of that really is to see sort of what you as a community think of the current activities of CoSeC, where you think perhaps we can go in the future. So in order to sort of preempt that, we've proposed a number of questions ahead of that session. Now, that's not to say this is set in stone, but ultimately we'd like to try and gather some feedback around these areas. So the first of these is, should the current council-funded model evolve, given the creation of UK IDRI? For those who aren't aware of what that is, there is more information in the 5th session toward the end of the day. So there's a good reason to stick around to find out what that means. The second is, given the UK's recent enormous investment into national infrastructure relating to AI, should we directly influence the CCP landscape and therefore the CoSeC program with AI activities? And the final one is about this event itself. And so I said, we've held this event as part of the Computing Insight UK conference now for a number of years, and it's been very successful. We've evolved it every year, leading to the event that we have today. But the question is, should we maintain that relationship? Or should we look to make this event something that stands on its own at a different time of year in a different venue, perhaps not? And so we're looking genuinely for feedback as to whether or not the current format is the best way of presenting this conference. And if you do have a question during the day, there is a QR code at the bottom of that slide. If you stand up now and take a picture, it'll take you to a form. Alternatively, you could just come and talk to me, but we're more than open to adding questions to this feedback session. Okay, I'll leave that up just for a few seconds so that anybody who wants to take a picture of the QR code is able to do so. 3, 2, 1. Okay, right. So before we move on to the first session, the thing I wanted to do was to thank the committee that helps to organize this event. As with any event like this, lots of work goes on in the background. And so the committee, you can see all of them there. I won't name them individually to avoid embarrassing them, but you can see them. And you can see that really this is always a big team event. And so even for an event like this, lots of people help. So from outside of STFC, from inside of CoSec's program. So thank you to everybody on the committee for your time over the last 6 months in helping to organize this event. And finally, again, if you'd like to take a photograph of this slide, you can, but we will be releasing all the slides, the presentations via our own website after the event. But if you're not aware of CoSeC yet, we have a number of ways to keep in contact with us. So we have a social media feed, we have a website that we keep up to date with lots of information, blog posts, those sorts of things. We've also just set up a new mailing list, and I've been asked to really highlight this. Because we would love it if this was a new large community mailing list. This is something I think CoSeC has been looking to do for a while, and I think we're at a point now where we really should. So this mailing list, to say, is brand new, but if you're interested in joining, it's a standard JISC mail, so please do sign up. Okay, so with that that's my introduction. It was brief because that was intentional. So what I'd like to do now is hand over to the chair of the first session. So Wendy Liu. So he's going to come up, and then we have a number of speakers who are going to talk about computational engineering and topics related to it. And then we'll have a break after that. So